everybody, I'm here to do my weekly wrap up and my Friday reads. This week I read quite a bit of middle grade. One of the other booktubers, I can't remember her name right offhand, she's doing kids literature November, and I didn't think I was going to do that, but I ended up doing quite a bit of it this week anyways. So I started off with How I Survived Middle School, Madam President by Nancy Krulik. And my daughter has read some of these, but stopped. But I really feel that most kids should read this, or at least this series, because it's there's a lot of morals and what's right and wrong and how to treat people. And I think a lot of kids nowadays are losing that. But this one is Jenny, who's fallen out with her ex-best friend. Her ex-best friend is now one of the mean popular girls, and they run for president. I think I gave this a 4-star. Then I went on to read this with my son. He chose to read this by himself, but he wants me to read it with him, but not to him. So it's Let's Get Invisible by R.L. Stine, and he's not too far into it. It's about a kid on his birthday who, with him and his dog, find this mysterious unknown room in their attic, and he finds this mirror that every time you turn a light on, because there's a light at the top of the mirror, you turn invisible. And then his friends find out about it, and yeah, things start to happen, but it's not quite what you think. And I think I gave that one a 4. I think most of them I gave 4s too. And then I went on to another one by Nancy Krulik. It's I Heard a Rumor. And it's about a mysterious person, Madam X, who is writing different rumors in the school paper, and everybody starts fighting with each other. Again, morals and how to treat people. And then again, I went back on to this one, or I stayed on it. I still have a couple more to read. It's The New Girl by Nancy Krulik, and it's about a new girl who comes from England to go to their middle school. And automatically the popular kids grab her. And yeah, they start trying to act like they're British. Yeah, it's a cute one. I love the ending of this one. And I think I actually gave this one a 5. Then for the BookTube reading buddies, I read John Wyndham's The Day of the Triffids. This one started out slow, and then it picked right up. As soon as he well, first it's about a guy who wakes up in his hospital room with his eyes covered, and there's nobody around. He's looking for his breakfast, and he doesn't hear anything. He doesn't hear traffic. And a comet had gone by the night before, and it was lit up the sky all green. So he decides, because he was getting the bandages off that day anyways, that he was going to just take them off himself and find out what's going on. And that part is kind of slow. But once he meets up with other people, because I kind of get rambly a little bit, once he takes them off, he finds out that everybody's blind. And once he meets other seeing people, the book really picks up. I was going to give it like a 2. And I actually think, let's see, I think I ended up giving it a 5. No, I gave it a 4. So I think it's just because it was a little slow, and it didn't really explain what caused the comet. It kind of explained a little bit of what might have happened. But yeah, it was a good read, considering it was written in 1951, I think. Yeah, 1951. Then on my Kobo, I was given a copy of Murder on the Eiffel Tower by Claude Eisner, and this is my phone, but my Kobo doesn't come with the covers. And I was given this by NetGalley, so thank you, NetGalley, and thank you for the publishers for this free copy of the book. This, I gave it a 1. It sucked. It was originally written in French, and it didn't go with translation. Something was lost in the translation. How do I say it? I did do a big review, but it was scattered. The writing was scattered. Some of the conversations, it was like this conversation over here and this conversation over here. One person's end of the conversation was put here, and one person's end of the conversation was put here, and they were mashed together. And it made no sense. First, I'll go with what it was about, and it's about Victor Legris. He's a bookseller, and it's in it's when the World Expo and the Eiffel Tower was first presented. Wow, I can't even get my thoughts ready on this one. It's about Victor Legris and his surrogate father, Kenji Mori, who run a bookstore. And they have a worker named Joseph, and he was the only redeeming part of this book. He was hilarious. But for a bookseller, he never actually worked. So one day, Victor and Kenji and his friends from the newspaper that is trying to get him to write articles for them were all at the Eiffel Tower at a restaurant, and somebody gets murdered. So he doesn't think anything of it, and then things ensue. It's kind of confusing. The whole entire book is confusing. It really was not fluid. It jumped all over the place. One minute he's here, the next minute he's there, and then the next minute he's there, and the next minute he's there, and it's just all over the place. And I don't know if it was because of the Kindle version or if it was just the writing, because I find that Kindle versions are kind of not formatted properly. And that's one of the reasons I hate reading on Kindles or electronic devices. But sometimes the conversations were together, normally, as books are normally written. And then other conversations, a conversation was up here, and then there's a major break, and then the rest of the conversation was down here, and you had to flip back and try and figure out if that was still the same conversation or if he was talking to somebody else or what. And then at other times, it says he's here, and then there's no break, and then all of a sudden he's somewhere else talking to somebody else like 2 days later. It was ridiculous. And I was thinking of continuing on with the series because some of the later books do get higher ratings. And there's 12 books. I guess it was originally only supposed to be 8 books. There's 12 books. Only 5 are translated into English. So, I don't know. But that was my worst read of the year. So then, me and my son were reading... I was reading to him A Shocker on Shock Street by R.L. Stine. This one had a nice twist at the end. It's about a girl and a boy who, her father makes all these movies on Shock Street. That's the series name of them. And they're making a theme park. Or, I wouldn't say theme park. It's more like a studio tour. And you ride on a tram through all the parts in the park, and they meet up with each stop on the tram is from one of the movies. That's about as much as I'm going to say on that one. And then I needed some adult stuff, and I read The Things She Says by Kat Cantrell. I usually give these books away once I'm done reading them because there's no sense in keeping them. This one I might keep. If you like Pretty Woman, You'll love this book. It's about a guy who gets lost in the desert when he's on his way to bring his ex-girlfriend her car. And he's a filmmaker, director, sort of thing. And she's the local mechanic. Yeah. It was really good. It took me a couple of days to read, only because I was reading other things at the time. But I would have sat down and read this in one day normally. I gave this a 5, and I don't usually give these 5s. This one was a 5. It was a solid read for me. So now we get on to current reads. Currently we are reading Why I Quit Zombie School by R.L. Stine, and the only thing we've gotten to so far is a boy who goes to a new boarding school. I don't know if they moved to a new town but his sister goes to a different school. And it doesn't so far explain why they're going to 2 different schools or why they're changing schools. That's the only problem I have so far with this book. But things aren't always as they seem at the school. So that's that book. And then I finally started Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I'm only a little bit into it. But I'm really liking Levi. It seems to be a little slow. I don't know if it's just because of everything I've read so far, but it's starting to pick up a bit. It's about a girl who goes to college, her and her twin sister, and her twin sister decides that she doesn't want to be her twin sister's roommate. So she's rooming with somebody else, and her boyfriend is Levi. And he's a really happy-go-lucky guy, and I'm liking it so far. I'm also, that's pretty much what I'm currently reading. What I'm going to be reading is, and this is another one that I got free from NetGalley, so thank you from NetGalley and the publishers for a free copy of the book for honest review. And it's, you can barely see it, Christmas at the Vicarage. It's hard to see, sorry, by Rebecca Boxall. And I believe this might be coming out on the 17th of November. So, yeah. What I know about it is that it's about a girl who moves back to the vicarage that she grew up in, and her father's the vicar. And obviously it's England. Okay, I'll read what NetGalley says about it. It's been 15 years since Rosamond last lived at the vicarage in Potter's Cove, the pretty coastal village where she grew up, experienced her first true love, and a heartbreak that changed her life forever. But now Potter's Cove is calling her back. It's time to make peace with the past and go home. And it's at Christmas time. So that's just a little, I don't like reading the whole big blurbs. So it sounds interesting. I'm not a big contemporary fan, just because I like fantasy, but I do like to read stuff like that the odd time. It changes things up for me. So that's what I'll be reading with Fangirl. And I'll also, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this. I think I will, but if I do, I will post another TBR. I might be reading the week of reading the bullying books. Sarah Churchill started it, and I will post her link below. She's a wonderful girl, and I believe in what she's doing, trying to get bullying more known and doing stuff about it. So if I do pick up a couple of the books that I'm thinking of getting from the library, I'll do another TBR. Okay, it's the Anti-Bullying Week from November 16th to the 22nd this week. So yeah, I'll do a TBR for that. If I choose to do it. Or not if I choose to do it. If I can get the books from the library. If not, I am going to be continuing with my Christmas at the Vicarage and Fangirl. But I'll also be reading Middle School Worst Years of My Life by James Patterson. It's a middle grade book. I don't know if I'm in a funk. I just am, or if it's just because of life that's going on around lately. I just need a whole lot of easy light reading. I'm just not into heavy stuff right now. And I'm also going to pick up the Duff Designated Ugly Fat Friend and Cinder by Marissa Meyer. And that is my weekly wrap-up and TBR. Oh, I'm tired. Weekly wrap-up and Friday reads. This has been a long video to make with interruptions with hubby on the cell phone and lack of brain power. I'm rambling. Okay. If you want to give me a like, give me a thumbs up. Comment, let me know what you're reading this week, and hopefully you'll subscribe.